Today, we're going to talk about a device that's in more and more of our homes, the robot vacuum. They're amazing, right? Super convenient. But it's also really important to understand what they're doing besides just, cleaning the floors. Our goal here is simple, to help you stay aware and informed. This isn't about making you afraid, it's about making sure you can use these devices safely and with confidence.
So, let me ask you this. What does that little machine rolling around your house actually know about you and your home? You might be surprised. It's probably a lot more than you think.
You see, we buy them to make our lives easier, to get some time back from our chores, and they're great for that, but it helps to look at them for what they also are. They aren't just vacuums. They're actually really sophisticated mapping tools, and they're operating inside our most private spaces.
Let's try to think about it in a new way. Picture your robot vacuum, not as a cleaner, but as a mapping device on wheels. Its whole job is to methodically create a detailed, digital blueprint of your personal space. When you see it like that, you naturally start to think a little differently about the kind of data it's collecting, right?
Okay, so if it's building this digital map of your home, what exactly is on it? Well, the information it collects can usually be broken down into 4 main categories, and when you put them all together, they can paint a surprisingly clear picture of your life. So first up, it creates these really detailed 3D maps of your home's layout. We're not just talking about knowing you have a living room, but its exact dimensions. Next, its sensors can identify the location and sometimes even the type of your furniture. It also learns your daily routines. For example, if it runs every morning right after you leave for work, it starts to learn your schedule. And finally, because it has to connect to your Wi-Fi, it can also gather details about your network and even see other smart devices you have in your home.
And that's really the crucial thing to understand here. Each little piece of data might not seem like a big deal on its own, but when you combine them, you get an incredibly detailed profile of your private life, everything from your daily habits to your home's layout, and even things that could indicate your lifestyle.
Now, this isn't just a what-if scenario. It's important to look at a real-world example to understand what can happen if this data isn't handled correctly. We're going to look at this calmly, just focusing on what we can learn from it.
So back in 2022, something pretty concerning happened. Sensitive images that were taken by a prototype robot vacuum actually ended up being shared online. And these weren't just maps. They were private photos from inside people's homes that had been sent to another company to help develop their AI. The key point here is that this data was accessed and then shared, all without the users knowing or giving permission. It's just a very clear example of how vulnerable our information can be once it leaves our home and gets handled by other companies, even when it's for something legitimate, like improving a product. Okay, so now that we understand the situation, let's talk about solutions, because the power really is in your hands. Here are 5 simple, practical steps you can take to protect your privacy, and you can still enjoy having a clean floor. First, before you even buy one, do a little research on the brand. Look for companies that have really clear and strong privacy policies. Second, limit cloud storage. Dive into the app settings and turn off any features that store your home's maps online if you don't need them. Third, if your model has an offline mode, think about using it. That can often stop it from sending data out. Fourth, and this is a big one, create no-go zones. Use the app to block the vacuum from going into really private spaces, like bedrooms and bathrooms. And fifth, remember to delete your data. Every so often, just go into the app and manually clear out any stored maps or cleaning history. This all comes back to a core principle for staying safe in our digital world. With any device, it's always a good idea to just stop, think, and verify what data you're actually sharing. Just take that extra moment before you click agree. So, after all this, what's the most important thing to take away? It's that awareness itself is protection. Just knowing how your devices work is the biggest, most powerful step you can take toward using them safely. There's a simple idea that really says it all, and it's this. A clean floor shouldn't cost you your privacy. It's all about finding that healthy balance between enjoying new technology and protecting what's important. Look, the goal here isn't to make you want to throw your vacuum in the trash. These are useful tools. The real goal is to empower you to use them wisely with a clear-eyed understanding of how they operate. Because when you're informed, you're the one in control.
Remember, your awareness is your best protection. The more you know, the safer you'll be. Thank you for listening. Please think about sharing this with your family and friends, and as always, stay aware.